guys, welcome back to another episode of Harry Howard Talks. I have my wonderful co-host here, Tara Erickson.
Hi guys.
But we have these amazing filmmakers and actors. We have Jordan Eubanks, Brian
Drolet.
And Chris Livingston.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, Brian Drolet. I got it.
That's my name.
I got it. You can find these guys. Originally, they were on MTV on the Hills, and Chris he studied at NYU. He made a film there that was pretty popular with J.K. Simmons, and then it was all uphill from there.
Well, you got some of the stuff mixed around, but I did make a film with J.K. Simmons a while back.
But
it was not at NYU.
It's all been downhill.
Oh, it's all been
No, I'm just
downhill.
kidding. Life in Titanic.
All right. Yeah, exactly. But you guys have your film Be Like Trees, which is a sort of, I don't know, you'd say it's like reality, but not. It's almost about your life.
It is actually about my life and all of our lives. I think we're huge fans of Curb Your Enthusiasm, so I was super excited when Larry David, in the pilot episode of Curb, it's like about him, and I always like, but it's scripted, it's improv, so I think that was a little kernel seed in my brain of when starting this, like, what if we kind of played versions of ourselves? So yeah.
But Brian did write a script. He wrote the script in 2 days for starters.
Really?
Yes, very fast writer.
Yeah, it was good. Like he can just vomit out a script pretty fast.
Well, it's amazing vomit.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I wish I had vomit like yours.
Oh God, where do we go wrong? No, we are all sick. No, but yeah, no, it is a scripted feature film, and there is improv, obviously, which we all love as a part of it. But we all play versions of ourselves, and it's really about the artistic plight of living in Los Angeles and what creative artists go through to try and bring their creations to the public. And so it was a really fun experience.
I watched a sneak peek. Kitty Cafe? I want one. They're in Japan, right? But I'm
No,
like,
that's here. That's on Melrose Avenue. That's
Really?
a real
Yeah, Melrose.
kitten cafe. Yeah, Crumbs and Whiskers.
Okay, well then I'm going.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was like just you wrote it.
But-
I was like, this is great.
Well, you want to know? Well, I wrote it out of my imagination because I thought, I was like, I'm pretty sure I've heard of this. And then I said, that's got to exist in LA, right? And sure enough, it was
Yeah.
like 3 blocks away from where I live. I'm like, of course. But what's funny about a kitten cafe, okay, you hear cafe, you think, I'm going to pet some cats and drink some coffee. They don't serve coffee. It's just kittens in a cafe atmosphere, which I think is just
you have
really
to
a room
pay?
full of kittens.
For the time in the
Yeah,
room
you
with the
gotta
cat.
pay.
Okay, I figured.
But there's no coffee.
There's no
Yeah.
food. There's
Just
nothing.
kittens, yeah. Should be called.
There might be some cat food.
Yeah, it might be some cat food. Hey, that's your thing. It's LA. I don't know.
Cat food.
Might be gluten in there though.
Oh yeah, well you can't have gluten. It's very untrendy to.
Yeah, you can't have your
like
cat
gluten.
eating gluten.
Yeah.
Your cat
It's
needs
not
to
on
eat better than you. In LA,
Oh
so.
yeah, it's not cool though to eat gluten.
I'm pro gluten.
Oh nice. I love trees. It's a very good nature. You know that?
I don't really even know what gluten is. It's impasta, right? That's all I know.
I have to ask you guys, since you guys work together a lot, I know you came along in like one, I forget the film that it was.
Dumbbells.
Dumbbells,
Yes.
right. And then, but you guys have worked together forever. How is it like working? And you also have Canvas Assassins, which I looked up, because I know your good friend Ben Gleep, he told me secrets about you, that when you drink, you're very affectionate to friends. Like,
Oh.
you tell them how much you love them, and I thought it was very sweet.
Inside info.
I did. I had to ask.
Yeah.
Get inside info.
Yes.
I'm like the guy who tells everybody I love them. I buy everybody shots,
Yeah.
and then the next day I'm like, oh man, why did I do that?
Except everyone loves you for it, which
Well,
is
that's
good.
good to know.
I'll have people be like, "Is your buddy Brian okay?" I'm like, "Trust me, he's not going to hurt a soul. He's just buzzing around. Just the friendliest."
I love. We're talking about my vomit. We're talking about me getting drunk.
Yeah.
Can we get back to the movie, guys?
Yeah, let's get back to the movie. So, is there a lot of inner pain having to deal with an artist? Because I know when you make a film about yourself, and when I did read the premise, it talks about being a struggling, actor. Is there a lot of pain that came with writing this?
I would say the writing part is the joy part. The pain is the crappy life sometimes that you have to deal with, people getting sick or getting rejected. So that's the pain part. So I think what's great about art, and what I hope the movie shows you, is what artists really do is they take their pain and turn it into art. And that's kind of where the therapeutic release comes from. And I really, what I hope people take away from this film, because Chris is a singer-songwriter, Jordan's a painter and an actor, and like you see all these different people doing different mediums of art throughout the movie, and you realize that a lot of times creations do come from pain or sometimes things that are unpleasant in life.
Yes.
But hopefully that transcends and becomes joy, and it's not all sad or anything like that. It's really about how you take what's sad and turn it into something productive.
So you mostly wrote this script, Be Like Trees, but you guys worked on the story together, correct? Or
These two.
These
These
two.
two.
And
Got
you're
it.
direct, and
Well,
you guys are both.
I co-directed the film with Brian,
Yes.
and basically we were at lunch one day, and we had been kicking around ideas for potentially doing a movie on an iPhone. We actually shot this on an iPhone.
Okay.
We did a little, every idea we came up with, we were kind of like, no, that just didn't quite feel right. And Brian told me a story at lunch. He was walking in the Grove one day, and he was wearing headphones, and he was listening to music, and how he was feeling really good, like the world was just, everything was working in his favor. Like this was the day, like everything was going to go great. And he starts to notice people looking at him as he's walking and thinking like, wow, like they're feeling my inner vibe. This is like, they're feeling my confidence. Like, wow, this is great. And all of a sudden he realizes that they're looking at him with concern and alarm. And so he takes his headphones off and he hears a ding, ding, ding. And he turns around and it's the trolley at the Grove was about to run him over.
And there was like some old woman going, the trolley, the trolley! And I literally went from this moment of like, oh, must be my new haircut, maybe my new shirt. And then I'm like, oh no, I'm about to get ran over and die.
Oh no.
So I relayed that story to him. I said, that's who we should write about. We should write that. That's a funny start with somebody who's delusional, and like let's take a story around that.
Delusional.
And so.
I'm
No, but,
delusional.
so anyway, I went home and I wrote just a scene and just sent it to him, basically describing what I just described to you. And Brian got inspired, and within 2 days he sat down and he put out a script, and it was fabulous. It was a really good read. It was really funny. It was very heartfelt and honest. And I was immediately like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so within a day, we were at Sammy's Camera. We were picking up equipment. We did a research. There was a film called Tangerine, which won Sundance a few years ago, and it was shot on an iPhone. So we started researching like, what equipment do we need? We need wireless mics. We need an anamorphic lens. We need a gimbal. We need certain things
So
to
you
make it.
you needed to get all those equipment. You didn't just take out like an iPhone and then
No,
just
no,
hit. No. You had to, there's a lot more
Well,
to that.
when he says it, we bought two things.
Okay.
We bought a lens to make it widescreen and a gimbal to make it smooth.
Okay.
And wireless
Downloaded an
mics.
app for $9.99. Film
Wireless
Pro.
mics.
Yeah.
Because you
And
gotta have
wireless
sound.
Oh
mics
yeah,
as
you
well.
got the lab.
But the idea was, with an iPhone, you can be incognito. So if we are filming at the Grove, who would know? So sometimes we didn't even use the special lens or the gimbal because we didn't want to bring attention to ourselves. So like on the airplane, airports, we shot at the Lakers game at
Staples
Staples
Center.
Center.
Oh wow, that's
Everywhere.
So the
Nobody
whole-
knows what you're doing.
The world is your set.
Instead of
essentially.
trying to confine a little movie, it becomes huge. And the film did become, it's a very big feeling film.
whoa. So you save a ton of money.
It was a
Yeah.
three-man crew. It was.
So this
just
is, you're
three
looking
men.
at everybody
looking at
right
You
here.
already have extras at the Staples Center.
Exactly, and you
Thousands
can
of them.
get creative. Nowadays, you can
Blur
digitally
the face.
you can blur people's face. You can get creative. And the other reason why we kind of made it about ourselves is the idea being, what are the assets that you have to create something? The assets we have are ourselves, where we live, where we work, our neighborhood. So that also kind of lent to kind of focusing around all of us in real life, and all of our real friends like Ben Glebe play versions of themselves, and
My mom is an Academy Award nominated actress, and she did a little part in the film with me. This is Nancy Olson. She was in the original Sunset Boulevard. So we just kind of pulled wherever we could, and
Wow.
yeah.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
I mean, because I know you've done stand-up. I saw it on your Vimeo. But
Oh, did
have
you?
you?
Stand up. No.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
Because
not
I know
funny.
that's kind of like his story.
So like Jordan and I met in an audition room years ago at
Okay.
MTV, and that's how we
In New York.
we became friends and knew each other in New York. We did a couple of MTV shows together. Obviously, The Hills is the one that most people would know us from, and so him and I have always been friends. But we always shared a love for painting. It was just like, how often do you meet somebody that also like likes to paint, and not only likes to paint, but paint the same things you like to paint. So we were painting back then, like MTV did a whole like mini Cribs episode of us showing our artwork. And we've always been doing it. And then we actually started the business Canvas Assassins. And that was, again, like, why don't we weave that into the storyline of the film? So that's all in the movie as well. And you
Okay.
can check it out at canvasassassins.com.
Yeah, so I was curious if you hid like paintings back there in the back of the scene. You're like, just let me
oh,
place
yeah,
this
right?
back here before we get rolling.
We showed them full
Right?
full frame.
Well, you know what
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I find fascinating about this is that this film is like literally your own life. I mean, even using the iPhone, it makes it even more real because people film their own lives on their iPhone. So
Right.
it's hard to distinguish between what's fake and what isn't.
Well, a lot of the actors in the movie said, they were like, wow, this was so liberating and so much fun because without a huge set and lights and everything, if just one person, you almost forget that the person with the iPhone is there. And I think it allowed for better performances. And also, one of the things I've always hated when I'm acting on sets is waiting on lighting, waiting on setup.
Yeah.
The creator, the actor, the kid in me would rather just, okay, let's do a take, let's do 5 takes, then quickly move the camera right there, let's do it again, and you get way more of a performance-driven film than great lighting, per se, you know?
Yeah.
Which we were conscious of. It's all
Actually,
natural lighting.
the lighting was fabulous.
Yeah, well, we got used to like, you know, you get like 4 hours in the day. There's like 4 to 5 hour window where you get like great lighting, and if you shoot a certain way, it works.
Who's the best under pressure on set? Like it blows up. Who like is the best with it?
Not me.
I'll say Jordan. Jordan
Okay.
is a very calm.
You seem really calm. You seem very zen.
He's the
back.
calm producer.
Yeah.
I can. Yeah, I don't know. I just try to comment.
See that right there?
now.
See how calm that was?
Yeah.
We're all just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. I feel more relaxed.
No, but
Yeah.
back to that. I had not been acting for ever, like since I was in my early 20s, and he brought a performance out of me. Chris has never acted, right? Never acted.
No,
in
a
a movie.
little bit in college, but never
So
done anything.
Brian is like he really, as far as a director, like he really. We're talking about filming on the iPhone and not having the pressure of everyone around. He really brought out honest performances from everybody, and it's great. I mean, there's not a false moment in the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And we
Which is
actually
nice.
stretched and did some interesting stuff. You know, there's a musical portion in the film, and my character is all about music. My family background and is my father was president of Capitol Records back in the '60s. He signed the Beatles. And he's always wanted me to do music, and I've always kind of pursued the films and the screenwriting, and I kind of have come full circle, and I'm actually putting out an album in real life, which is what my character does in the movie. But we actually even went further. We created a musical section in the film, and Brian actually created animation for that. So it really. There's art, there's music, there's film, there's comedy, and
children's
there's
book.
animation, and there's a children's book. I mean, it's all our lives are in there, and we're pushing the ground on every sort of frontier
Well,
artistic
better get in
thing.
those festivals. It
We'll
will.
see. Yeah, I hope
we'll
so.
see,
We're
yeah.
basically all art addicts. Like, we just love art, all the different mediums. So I really feel like this film is a love letter to art and artists and what they go through. So
Yeah, because I mean, you could drop that separately, the animation with the song, I assume. Is
we're
that kind of
thinking
like a
about doing
plan
that.
for
Yeah, putting the
teaser?
musical
Yeah.
out there to kind
might.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody
Yeah.
that sees it is like, you have to put this on YouTube.
You know, Tara can
Yeah.
help produce your movie. You know, she can.
All right, let's do it. We're ready to make more movies, so let's go.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this trio, is it a long-term trio now? Because I know it was you two in the beginning, I guess, like making and creating together, and you have Canvas Assassins, you're best friends, you do a lot of things together. And then you came in, as you said.
Yeah, well, actually, fun fact, we met Chris the first time we ever all met. The first film him and I ever made, it was an indie movie. We raised $100,000 and it premiered at the ArcLight. And he came to that screening
Oh
and
my
saw
God.
that.
Oh.
So that's where we actually first met. And so we haven't been able to get rid of any of us
Of it.
since then.
Yeah.
So I don't foresee.
Has you started painting then?
No,
Because these guys,
I'm awful.
you're bad at
I'm
it.
awful at
Maybe
painting
they
and
less-
drawing.
Well, we're singing now, so we got to get
Yeah,
into
okay.
We can
painting.
teach you. We can teach you how to
I
paint.
painted that.
Did you really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I'm like, isn't that a print? Is this like Target?
No, I didn't do that. I don't know how to
I
paint.
signed things Target. That's what I.
Painting's
Yeah.
easy. Painting's
Yeah.
easy.
When I paint, they look like disabled stick figures. It's just,
Hey, but that's art. That's art.
that is art. Oh, that's true.
Art is boundless.
There you go. You know.
Boundless, you know?
Yeah.
There you go. You got something there.
Yeah. So hang on. So Be Like Trees. What made you come up with that title? Is it because the sky's the limit, or the sky isn't the limit, and you're like a tree 'cause you keep growing? I don't know.
Great question. You know, that came from there's dialogue in the film that this wasn't initially meant to drive the name of the movie, but I in real life love trees, always have, and like sometimes you get stressed out. I love to walk through the neighborhood and just, I don't know, my father was just very into flowers, and I don't know, I love trees. So there was just this dialogue in the film where my character is telling Chris, in life, you know, we should all be a little bit more like trees, because trees are at peace with who they are. Their roots are planted firmly in the ground, and you know, whether it's concrete, no matter what it is, you look around a metropolitan city and trees are bursting up everywhere because, you know, my take was a tree won't be denied. A tree knows who it is, what it is, and it's proud. And if you start to look up fun facts about trees, which we also have on our Instagram, there's just all these interesting things about trees, and we need them to live and they need us. And so it was kind of like this philosophical message sitting right there, and as we can continue to kind of wrap our minds around the story, it was like, maybe that should be the name of the movie, is Be Like Trees.
Be
And
Like
it
Trees.
felt right, because the whole movie's about never giving up and not being denied.
Yeah.
What we inhale, they exhale. What we exhale, they inhale.
Yeah.
And then we wrote a song called Be Like Trees,
I love
which is
it.
our musical number.
I'm curious if it's a question, I guess, for all three of you, if there's a film that made you feel like a tree, like a grounded tree that you did, that you're like, now I feel like I am my own tree. You know, like you're like grounded and you're like, this film was a thing that did it and made me grow the most, and now I know who I am.
I think it's this film.
Okay.
I mean, it's got to
I
be.
mean, I figured,
Yeah.
but hey, you never know.
Yeah, it's definitely. Oh, the cops are onto us, maybe. But,
Yeah, they're like you're smoking trees. No,
yeah, that's it. You smoke trees, people juice, they drink
That's what
trees, you
actually, no,
know.
it's
You drink
legal.
and smoke
They're
them.
out for us for different reasons.
Yeah.
There's one other element too, and that is that the movie is sort of a tribute to Brian's mother, who was an artist.
Yes.
And basically, she had a terrible disease called scleroderma, and she was given what
She was
5
given
years?
3 to 5 years to live. It's an autoimmune
Oh,
disease,
no.
and it kind of turns your body against itself. But she fought for 15 years, and so watching her in my life, just like every day, just like fighting, and always smiling and always being in a good mood, it kind of instilled in me this mentality of like, enjoy every day and never give up. And the film, that's kind of the emotional through line of the movie. You kind of learn about my mother and learn that I got my love of art from her. And you know, by the time the movie's over, the hope is people come away with the spirit that she lived her life, is like, you know, don't give up and smile big and keep creating. And if it's not art that you do, whatever it is you do, just keep doing it and fighting the good fight.
And a tree will never give up. It will go through concrete to reach the sky if it has to.
Never. You got to be like trees.
Got to be like a tree.
You guys are all trees right here.
Exactly, and we're tall,
all
so it
trees.
goes.
Yeah.
You know, that's good too.
I'm a giving tree.
Little Harry.
Little tree.
Hey, we need bonsai trees,
A
right?
branch. I'm a branch.
It's all true.
Shrub. We need shrubs too.
Oh yeah.
Just
Yeah.
kidding, I'm just kidding.
So I know you guys have Canvas Assassins on Instagram. Do you have like a hashtag for this film, or a hashtag for your just you guys as a trio, or like what should people check out?
Hashtag Be Like Trees.
Okay.
Instagram at Be Like Trees. I would say go to our Instagram. It's so easy to remember, at Be Like Trees. Twitter at Be Like Trees Film. BeLikeTrees.com. And there's going to be all information coming out in the next couple of weeks about when exactly the movie's coming out, where you can see it. But if you go to any of those social media links, you know, you can find all info there and in the future.
Have you guys ever thought of
Awesome.
having a screening of all your films together, like 3 of them, like Cinepods and like
Like Star Wars, we're gonna watch like the full.
I don't know. It'd be fun for LA. You guys have been out here so long. I'm curious. I'm sure you have a huge
You
fan base.
know, that's a little bit too much
Maybe
for
not
me,
too
I think,
much.
for one day.
Really? Yeah.
I wouldn't want to torture
I don't know,
people like
people would
that.
be
Instead, I'll
into
just get drunk and buy them all shots. That's a
That
better
sounds
idea,
more fun.
you know?
I'll
Yeah.
take that.
Well, guys, you know, it's been awesome. This interview goes really fast.
Are we done?
Yeah. We're
wow.
almost. Yeah, we're around there.
I
Around
could,
that
I, could,
time.
I could tell
It's
you
around that time.
one very quick story that might be a nice cap.
Sure.
You got 25 seconds.
You got 25
Yeah.
seconds.
5 seconds. Okay, quickly. We were at his mom's grave shooting, and all of a sudden everything was going great. This entire shoot went so well you can't imagine. First time anything went wrong. We're trying to get a shot of her gravestone in the foreground and Brian walking towards it in the distance along this wall, and the sun came out and completely blinded. You couldn't read her inscription anymore. We were like, this never happened on the film. Everything had gone like been handed to us beautifully, and I knew something was out. I said we had to wait. I saw a shadow creeping up from a nearby building. I knew if we waited a certain, like about an hour, that shadow would cover it. We'd get the shot. It was the last shot of the day. I'm like, okay, we'll just wait. But I sat down at the gravestone while Brian was getting some pickup shots. And basically, I said, why are you making us wait? We finished up the day, we got the shot. On our way out of the cemetery, we walk out, there's this gorgeous rainbow. And we got it on film, and we used it in the film. And there's a shot of Brian walking and seeing the rainbow, and it was like, it's a beautiful part of the film. We think it's just, it was felt blessed. So
Yeah.
that's the story in a nutshell.
I love it.
Wow.
So rainbows.
Do you like trees and
Rainbows.
rainbows?
Yeah,
Yes,
be like
exactly,
trees and
exactly.
rainbows.
That'll be the sequel. Be like
Yeah.
a rainbow.
You like a rainbow?
Yeah. And then the studio will pick it up and distribute it
Exactly,
worldwide.
yes.
IMAX, hopefully.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching Harry Howard Talks. Please watch Be Like Trees once it's out in theaters worldwide or VOD, whatever it is. You better watch that.